I think I need to go old school, like actual cash in envelopes. The envelope method? Yeah, my cousin does it. Says she hasn't overdrafted once since she started. It works for a specific reason. When you physically hand over cash, your brain registers the spending differently than when you tap a card. That's the whole thing. Just use cash? Not just use cash. Use cash that's already been divided and labeled before you spend any of it. The envelope tells you what you have left. When it's empty, the category is done for the month. What happens if something comes up and I need more than I put in? That moment, the envelope running out, is the most important moment in the whole system. What you do right there is where the discipline lives. What are you supposed to do? Stop spending in that category, or consciously move money from another envelope. Either way, you're making a real decision, not a default. Most of us have lost the physical experience of spending money. You tap a card. A number changes somewhere in a database. The transaction is over in 2 seconds, and you feel almost nothing. Economists and behavioral researchers have a name for this: the pain of paying. The idea, documented extensively by Drazen Prelec and Duncan Symester in their research on payment methods published through MIT, is that paying with cash produces a measurable psychological discomfort that paying with a card does not. That discomfort is not a bad thing. It is information. It is your brain registering that something of real value just left your possession. When that feedback disappears, as it largely does with cards and digital payments, spending becomes easier, faster, and less conscious. The cash envelope method brings the feedback back.
Here is how the system actually works.
You start with your take-home income for the month. The real deposit number after taxes and all deductions have been removed. You assign your income to categories exactly as you would in any other budget method. The difference is that for the categories where you have the most overspending history, the categories where you consistently go over and cannot account for where the money went, you withdraw the budgeted amount in cash and divide it physically into labeled envelopes. You start with your take-home income for the month. The real deposit number after taxes and all deductions have been removed. You assign your income to categories exactly as you would in any other budget method. The difference is that for the categories where you have the most overspending history, the categories where you consistently go over and cannot account for where the money went, you withdraw the budgeted amount in cash and divide it physically into labeled envelopes. Common cash envelope categories include groceries, dining out, personal spending, entertainment, and household supplies. Fixed expenses like rent, utilities, and loan payments stay digital since they are automatic or paid by check. Cash envelopes are not designed for fixed bills.
Each envelope is labeled with the category name and the dollar amount placed inside. At the start of the month, $300 goes into the groceries envelope. $150 goes into dining out. $80 goes into personal spending. These envelopes are your budget made physical. When you shop for groceries, you bring the groceries envelope. When you go to a restaurant, you bring the dining out envelope. You pay in cash and put the change back in the envelope. The remaining cash in the envelope at any moment is your exact remaining budget for that category. No calculation required, no app to open, no balance to check. You can see it and feel it without any technology.
Jesse Meckham, founder of YNAB, notes that the envelope method is the physical predecessor to every digital zero-based budgeting tool that followed it. The logic is identical. Every dollar gets a job. The envelope is just the physical container for the assignment. Dave Ramsey has recommended the cash envelope system as a primary tool within his baby steps framework for decades, particularly for people who are paying off debt and need the most concrete possible relationship with their spending.
Here is what happens when an envelope runs out before the month ends. This is the critical moment. You have 3 options. Option 1, you are done spending in that category until the next month. The dining out envelope is empty by the 22nd. You eat at home for the remaining 9 days. Option 2, you consciously transfer cash from another envelope, say personal spending, into dining out, acknowledging that you are reducing your personal spending budget to cover the shortfall. You are not breaking the system. You are making a deliberate trade-off with full awareness. Option 3. You break into the envelope illegally, spend money you were not supposed to spend, and learn something specific about where your budget ceiling is too low and needs to be adjusted next month.
All 3 outcomes produce useful information. All 3 are better than swiping a card without knowing where you stand.
The behavioral economics research supporting the envelope method is consistent. A study by Avni Shah, Noah Eisencraft, James Bettman, and Tanya Chartrand, published in the Journal of Marketing Research, found that consumers who paid with cash reported stronger feelings of ownership over their purchases, were more attentive to price differences, and made more deliberate purchase decisions than those who paid with credit or debit cards. The physical transfer of something of value, even paper bills, activates loss aversion in a way that digital transactions do not. For someone who has tried tracking apps and given up, or who consistently overspends in specific categories, despite knowing the budget, the cash envelope system offers a fundamentally different kind of accountability that operates before the spending decision rather than after it.
2 common objections to the cash envelope system are worth addressing directly.
The first objection is online purchases. A significant portion of consumer spending now happens online, where cash is obviously not applicable. The solution used by most envelope budgeters is simple. For online purchases in an envelope category, withdraw the equivalent cash amount from the relevant envelope at the time of purchase and set it aside, perhaps in a small jar or a separate section of a wallet, to account for the digital spend. The physical removal of the cash from the envelope is the important act, even if the cash itself is not handed to anyone.
The second objection is that carrying cash feels inconvenient or unsafe. The hybrid envelope method is the practical middle ground. Use digital payments for most categories, but maintain 1 to 3 cash envelopes for the categories where you historically overspend most. Many people find that even a single cash envelope for dining out or personal spending is enough to create the behavioral change they needed, without requiring a complete shift to cash for every transaction.
The Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances notes that households with a defined, consistent method for managing discretionary spending demonstrate significantly lower rates of revolving credit card debt than households without one. The envelope system is one of the oldest and most consistently practiced of those methods. It is not sophisticated. It is not digital. And for a specific category of spender, the person who knows the budget intellectually but cannot seem to feel it in the moment, it is exactly what the digital tools cannot replicate.
Start with 2 envelopes. The 2 categories where your money has been disappearing for months without a clear accounting. Fill them with cash on payday. Spend from them deliberately. When they are empty, they are empty.
The inconvenience of the system is not a flaw. The inconvenience is the point.
So the cash envelope works because handing over real money feels different than swiping a card. Your brain registers actual loss when you pay with cash. With a card, there's almost no feedback at all, and the envelope running out isn't failure. It's information. It tells you exactly where your budget ceiling is too low, or where your habits are exceeding what you'd planned. I could start with just the grocery envelope and the dining envelope. 2 envelopes is enough to change the experience. You don't have to go all in on the first month. My card never made me think twice. I think that was the whole problem. For a lot of people, it is.